Good afternoon and welcome to Monday's Market Outlook here at TGO Top Gun Options. And another week, another down week ahead, or very volatile week for the market. Seems like in this market we've been lurching from big news event to big news event, and this week is no different. Some relatively good news out of the trade war headlines. China to suspend punitive tariffs on U.S. cars and autos for 3 months. Trump and Xi agreed a 90-day tariff truce to eat trade negotiations. Great. Looks like China's thawing a little bit, starting to give a lip a little bit because their economy is getting shellacked from GDP to manufacturing, their PMIs, retail sales, just not good for China. It looks like, obviously, this has been a walk in the park for us. The Empire Fed, I think the print today was like the lowest 19 in years. So I forget exactly what the number was, but the Empire Fed came out with a very, very big miss today. So we're slugging it out here back and forth, and it seems like they're getting bloodier. But again, when you can control people's morale at the end of a bayonet, it seems like you might be able to go a little bit longer. There is a ceasefire in the U.S.-China trade war, so who waved the white flag first? China may scale back the rhetoric of its global ambitions, recognizing that discretion is a better part of valor. They've been doing this for 8 years under Barack Hussein Obama, folks. Chinese ships full of dirt would sail to the middle of the Pacific at right near some atolls at low tide, dump the dirt, build a runway, and call it China. So they had been relatively quiet. Now I get the more recent saber rattling, launching a new aircraft carrier and all sorts of stuff. And the president's kind of maybe throttled back his rhetoric now that the soft underbelly of the U.S. economy has been exposed. So each side has a lot of big issues and a lot to lose, and it's going to come down to when, not if, we get apart from a truce, a deal. Chinese stocks outrun Wall Street after trade truce. Calm has returned to China's markets, at least, that Beijing will take more potent measures to arrest its economic slowdown. So get ready. I'd probably stop shorting FXI for now. We're going to get some sort of PBOC injection or some sort of government intervention to help here. Every time in the past 6 to 8 months the PBOC has gotten involved in capitalism, it pops. It's a sugar high, and then the market wakes up and says, whoa, if the government's getting involved to save capitalism here, it's worse than we thought and ends up going down. So I would wait. I'd sit on my hands with FXI, wait for another pop, as we have just with every one of these pops. The good news out of Buenos Aires, all of these are pops and drops. The best house in the international neighborhood has been Brazil. We have a good EWZ iron condor that's going right down range, hanging right around this 50-day moving average and the Keltner channel. So like in our FXI trade. Major hedge funds scrambling to prevent financial wipeout. Don't ever think your money. This is why I teach people. Nobody cares more about your money than you. So learn how to do this. Ken Griffin's Citadel's getting hammered. Israel Englanders, Millennium Management, all the smartest people in the room, right? They're getting wiped out. And by the way, just because they use the term hedge fund doesn't mean they're hedged. Trust me, when I founded Peak Six University up in Chicago and we started looking at doing consulting with hedge funds, I'd say out of 9,000 hedge funds that we did research on, maybe a couple hundred actually hedged. The rest are completely unhedged, so getting wiped out. And in a market like this, where it's really volatile, a hedge fund is designed to be what? Market or delta neutral and be able to make money in any market condition. And they're not. This is going to be a big week, folks. We have 2 big events. We have the Fed meeting or the Fed announcement on Wednesday, where I fully expect the dude to raise rates and then get dovish. If he doesn't raise rates, I'm telling you, it'll be a quick sugar, half a Santa Claus rally, and then we go down. The Fed not raising rates now would be a sign that they completely missed the runway and we're going to have a crash landing and we're in a lot more trouble. But the biggest, so U.S. stocks falls, investors wait cues on future Fed policy. This is the big one here, man. Trump last week in that spectacle in the Oval Office on Tuesday said, hey, man, I got it, Chuck. I'm going to shut this thing down. How can you not be for border security? And then, of course, Chuck and Nancy sit there and go, we're for border security. Okay, what's that look like? We're not for a wall. Okay, then, Nancy, why do you live in San Fran behind a massive wall with armed guards? Why do you put a lock on your door, Nancy? The biggest hypocrites in the world. So this is the president screwed up last year. He caved last year. He ain't doing it this time, and he more or less somebody's got to blink, and it's going to get. It's going to get interesting. U.S. stocks need a Santa Claus rally to avoid a losing year. I just don't. I don't see it happening, folks. After you get to any little Santa Claus rally, you're going to get tax selling, man. You're going to get for tax loss selling, especially after this 3-month volatility. A lot of people are going to be selling positions to take that year-end tax loss. So it's a very big week ahead. Seems like we say this every week, but every week is lurching from headline to headline. Trump slams the Fed on eve of rate decision. Incredible the Fed would be hiking with the world blowing up. What did the president say last week about the Fed chief? He's a good guy, great guy, huge, love him. What did he say last month? Guy's an idiot. Haven't liked him since I hired him. So Trump's going through his bipolar mood right now with the Fed. So literally, we have broken 1, 2, 3. We've broken the October lows. Technically, the lookout below is the February lows. I predicted this, guys. I said we do not hold here. We go lower. Now, I got to be honest with you. The volume, this isn't panic yet, guys. You have not seen panic selling yet. Institutional selling jumping in, volatility going through the roof. Volatility is elevated, but it ain't. In order to see a bottom and for us to pull out of this thing, you need washout selling and a massive spike in volatility. We haven't seen that yet. So it's a lookout below. I've been volatile to bearish, and I'm staying that way. If we don't kind of catch a little bit of a break here this week, either from the Fed or a government shutdown, we're imploding. You have got to have your hedges on. If you're not hedged in this environment, you're nuts. You're gambling. Okay. All the spreads that I teach folks here at Top Gun Options are hedged technically in and of themselves. I'm just talking about an overall portfolio hedge. Get some SDS calls on, which I think 7 out of 8 times that we've taken a look at getting long some SDS calls, they've printed money. Last week it was like the Jan 4 35, man, 35 and a half for a couple bucks. Or was it the 35? So I have a couple of these on. Buying the Jan 4 35s, I think they were, for a buck or whatever the price was. I mean, these things are up at $5.80 right now. I think they quadrupled in value. So every time you've listened to me, if you've heard me say it is time to get some SDS on, you've printed money on those. So hopefully you got your SDS on. If you don't, make sure you stop by at 1 o'clock today. We're going to be talking about this in weekly options, because I think we're going to sit on our hands as far as a weekly options trade with all this volatility. But if you want to join us for a 7-day trial, it's pretty easy. It's only $38, while 14, 28, or $38. You just kind of scroll down here and pick a little. If you like a more defensive portfolio, conservative, right there. If you're kind of middle of the road, offensive, if you want access to everything we do here for a week for $38, just click on Full Throttle Max, and it's a $38 7-day test flight. go.topgunoptions.com/go flight. And you can join us for the next 7 days, which are going to be extremely interesting. Okay? Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I'll see many of you in weekly options in a couple hours.